everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and wow, Blood Rage has landed. The physical rewards from the most recent Kickstarter was a surprise delivery that I received this week, which really was a surprise because I had absolutely no notification whatsoever. And first off, big disclaimer here, if you guys are seeing the box art or anything during this particular video and are wondering whether this ties into a solo game aspect, it actually doesn't. Now, I do this very, very rarely on the channel. I think I only did it once before for a game that wasn't playable solo, but I'm really excited for Blood Rage personally. It's a favorite of mine from way back when it first landed. So, surprisingly, I believe Canadians actually have received this first, which is quite surprising, because usually we're the tail end of all these types of deliveries. So, without further ado, for those interested in Blood Rage, potentially if you're playing this game with family members, friends, and all that type of stuff, or you just love Blood Rage, this will be useful to you. Or if you're an individual who is just waiting on their pledge to arrive, this could also be interesting for you. I got a handful of other things during the Kickstarter. Now, the one thing that didn't show up was the playmat. That is still out there, and similar to deliveries from CMON like Rising Sun, the playmat usually gets shipped separately, so that's probably going to show up in the next week or two. But for now, I've got all the other rewards, which include this box we'll dive into, along with this absolutely beautiful second edition art book for Blood Rage. We also have some more game content here with the Deluxe Gods of Asgard. We have some hard cardboard, and I mean thick cardboard, for each of the clans in the game. So the original ones were on much thinner, cardstock, and at that particular time, to be totally honest, when playing with friends and family, the edges and everything would get all scuffed up and beat up, and I was actually really tempted in laminating them, and then this Kickstarter landed, and I was like, well, I guess that solves that problem. They're going to be thicker cardstock. So that's exactly what you're seeing here. And they also did the exact same mentality here with some of the major boards inside the game, like the Ragnarök board for the overview, as well as the Valhalla board. So both of those are in thicker cardstock as well, and were thinner in the original game. So outside the packaging, here are two of the items that I chose to pick up during the Kickstarter. Of course, they're much thicker than the core version for the Valhalla sheet that was in there. And I can tell you, mine definitely had those scuffs all around the edges. The black edging was starting to turn white. So this is going to be really nice, and it will also hold up a lot better over time. And of course, you got the exact same thing going on here for all the different age tracks for first age, second age, and the third age. And again, coloring and artwork on this game is fantastic. So if you've played Blood Rage before, none of these clan boards are going to be surprising to you, except for the fact they're now thicker than they were in the original game, as was those other ones we just took a look at. So again, thickness is all bumped up. They look really good quality-wise. They look like they're going to hold up and be very durable, and they have some beautiful artwork on the back as well. These are going to be the same for all of them, except that, of course, they're going to be actually specific to each clan. So we have the clans like the Serpent Clan here. We have the Raven Clan, the Bear Clan, the Ram Clan, and the Wild Boar Clan. Now let's check out the art of Blood Rage 2nd Edition. This art book is very, very beautiful. You'll see here there's even a nice sheen right on the front here, the UV spotting, looking pretty awesome. Hopefully that picks up on camera quite nicely so you can see that. Flipping it over to the opposite side, same thing. That UV spotting goes over to the other side as well, looking pretty good. We'll take a look at the first couple pages so you guys get an idea as to what it looks like inside the art book itself. Again, Adrian Smith behind all of this stuff, so you know anything about hate or any of that kind of stuff, his artwork is fantastic. So we're just going to rip through a couple of these things so you can see the rough idea. There's also some full-on verbiage and flavor text mixed in with the actual artwork in this book, which is a nice touch. It's just beautiful all the way around. Definitely fits the theme, of course, because his fingerprint is on the entire game. But it's just beautiful to see the artwork of where the game originated and some of the newer content as well. Looking pretty good. Even some specifics per the clans. Just a beautiful book overall. I'm really going to look forward to actually sitting down and taking a close look at all the artwork inside of this thing, because it really is nice. That's one of the most popular pictures for Blood Rage, being that it's on the front cover of the core game itself. One of the impressive monsters from the core game as well. This is the Ram clan. The Wild Boar clan. Sorry, I said Wild Roar there. That was definitely a mistake. We're getting to the end here. Now, it doesn't list... Actually, they do have the page numbers, but they're at the top. And so in terms... I just skipped about 10 pages. But there's about 60 or so pages here. Maybe almost cresting 70. So, yeah, 64 pages it looks like. So that's pretty impressive, and there's some pretty nice shots inside this book. So really hope this gives you a good idea as to what the art book looks like inside and what you can expect. Next up, we have an expansion box that's exclusive to, again, that Blood Rage Digital Kickstarter that happened that also had physical rewards buried inside of it for those interested. This was one of them, the deluxe version of these. And again, these are a version of the classic expansion. So we'll go ahead and check out these components as well. But first, let's check out the back of the box. This expansion introduces a whole new element to Blood Rage, the power of the Asgardian gods. Each of the gods influences the province they occupy in a unique way, affecting the basic rules of the game. The combination of the gods in play helps create unique dynamics each game session. It will be up to the players to adjust their strategies to the gods on the board, benefiting from their effects, avoiding their influence, or manipulating them to hinder their opponents. When you first open up the box, you're going to see a handful of cards here all wrapped up. We'll talk about those very soon, as well as a tray full of oversized miniatures for each of these gods and a rule set sheet down below. So here is the first miniature inside the box, and inside this box there's actually 7 of them. I'll give you a quick 360 of each of these miniatures so you can see them from all angles, but the quality of them is very, very nice. Now this one is absolutely a very dynamic miniature in that it's not stationary. In other words, this particular piece right here comes straight out of the chair itself. You can just have the chair, which is also very, very detailed and looks very nice from all angles. But this actual character here can sit straight inside the chair. Flipping it on over, I'll show you the back side of him. So he's got a flat part there. If you do want to glue him in place, you definitely can. Most people probably will, but it is nice to have that freedom to take him in and out and use the chair maybe in other ways, but it's a beautiful miniature. Moving right along to a very well-known character, Thor, and his dynamic pose looks pretty awesome. He's actually stepping up onto what looks to be kind of the edge of, or the cliff of some rocks there. His cape is blowing in the wind. It's a very, very cool looking pose, and very much a power pose for him, which is not surprising in the least. If I'm not mistaken, this is Loki, actually one of the most fun strategies to play inside of Blood Rage, which is Loki's trickery and all that goodness. There's a whole strategy to that, essentially actually killing yourself off and having your clan take the fall most of the times in order to gain points. It's a very different way of going about combat, but the miniature for Loki is very, very cool. Here we look at the Watcher Guardian. This individual is really awesome. Look at the detail on the shield and the body there. I'll see if I can get that in the shot. There's lots of little crevices all over the place in his armor, so you're going to have a field day painting this thing if you're interested in that sort of thing. It is a very nice miniature all the way around. Beautiful. Next up is the miniature for Frigga, another beautiful miniature all the way around. And again, this pose isn't as dynamic as the other ones, but there's a subtlety to it that's also nuanced and very cool looking. You can see the hair blowing in the wind there. You can see the shield is definitely predominant right in front. The detail on that shield is very, very nice. Lots of little spots there to paint. So again, another one that painters will enjoy making look quite nice. The last miniature inside the box is Hel the Underhanded. So let's go ahead and rotate this around so you can see from all sides. Underneath the miniatures is a God of Asgard rules booklet. It's only a couple pages long. It's got the setup for them. And again, it's going to explain to you how these things work inside the game if you choose to actually add them in. You can see here it's got talk about the power of the gods. The cards, the pack I won't be opening during this unboxing, but essentially it's representation for each of the different gods, obviously, and then their major effect on the regions that they'll be in. Down below, you've got moving the gods and how that works, setting the gods over here, and flipping over to the back, just some nice artwork to top it off. And that's going to have us come full circle right around to the box you saw at the beginning of the video. Yes, indeed, I really want to check this one out. So let's flip it over, take a look at the back, and then we're going to check out all the components inside. Now, this thing gets me really excited because as you'll see at the very top here, we have gold editions of all the gods that you just saw in that deluxe box that I showed you. That is one of the biggest pieces of this set that's really exciting, is that these things are really going to shine and make the game table look even nicer. So we'll show those once we get inside the box. There's also the Stag clan joining the fray as well, plus some new individuals that are also going to show up as monsters inside the game. So without further ado, let's actually see these things up close. So when you first open up the box, you're going to see that those gold gods of Asgard have their own rule booklet in here. This booklet is not a huge thing at all. It's just going to show you the setup of them as well as how the power of the gods work, moving them around and resetting the gods themselves. Flipping it over to the back side, we've got rules for a 5-player game, preparing the cards, and preparing the board. Pretty straightforward. Now, next up here, we have the Stag clan. This is really exciting because they've actually included inside of this box both the thin paper version, almost essentially not really paper, but really thin version that they had in the core game originally. And this is the one that I have from the core game that eventually the corners started going on them because of wear and tear and just use of the game and playing it so much. But they've also included inside of this the heavy duty cardboard version as well. And you can see the difference now much better because we have an actual comparison of how much thicker those cardboard pieces have gotten. Way thicker indeed. So that's pretty awesome. So both of those are in there. If you want to take a look at this board, you can pause the screen and enjoy it. It has some beautiful artwork on it. And that's really going to cover everything that shows up on the top of the box. There is so much to look at here. I really want to go through this stuff one by one, but obviously for the new clans, you've got some big bases here. So we'll just put those to the side. That's for the Stag clan. We've again got some of these cards for the gods of Asgard. So there's a pack of them. There's one card per god, and you can see it shows the ability on the very bottom as well. Pretty cool. You've got more stands. Again, some of this stuff is going to relate to that new Stag clan. So you're going to have cards specific to them right here, and maybe some mixed in other cards from the Kickstarter as well. You're going to have the actual bases for the clan here. You've got your stat markers that they're going to be using across the bottom. So I'll give you a nice close-up of what they look like. These always look really cool. I really love this about the original Blood Rage when they actually came out with these markers, because it certainly jumped up the look on the table. Very cool looking. Of course, you got the boat here as well, and you got your score tracker for the Stag as well. So that's all of that. But there's also a bunch of other things mixed in here. There's all kinds of gold gods here and monsters. So let's actually bring them close up and check them out. Here we have 9 reward pillage tokens, and of course these are going to be replacements for the versions that are actually inside of the core experience. They're just made of cardboard, but very nice quality here. Like them quite a bit. Looking real nice. Now, to go along with those 9 reward pillage tokens, you obviously have to have some pretty cool destroyed pillage tokens. So once the areas have been pillaged, you've got an actual 3D plastic miniature that you can put on the board to show that area has been fully pillaged. And it's got a building here that's been basically just burned and torn down. So that's going to be really cool. Another one that'll be nice to paint as well. And as you can see at the very top here, there's not just one, there's 9 of them. There's also some upgraded tracker tokens inside the game, because the original ones were all cardboard tokens. These are definitely going to be a nice upgrade from those cardboard tokens. They're looking pretty awesome. You can see the detail here inside of this one. Looks pretty cool. Again, painting these won't take long. They're not huge, so I definitely will be going down that route in the future. And it wouldn't be a complete set without an absolutely beautiful looking first player marker. Look at this thing. So again, this is what I was talking about with the gold miniatures. That really is going to enhance the look of the actual miniatures on the game board. Those gods are going to look phenomenal when I show you them on camera in a second, but this is just the first player marker as it is, and it's already very eye-catching. I've got to go ahead and show you guys the new clan, the Stag clan, because, well, of course, there's going to be many of you that are going to want to try this one out. Now, for these characters right here, there's 4 of them each. This one right here, there's 2 of them, and there's just the one here for the leader, but they look really nice. I'll go ahead and flip these over to their back side so you can actually see what they look from the back. They have detail all the way around. Even though they're smaller than the larger gods, they still look awesome. We'll start the monsters off with the smallest one in the box. This one is called the Wolf Woman. So we'll go ahead and give you shots all the way around of her. This wolf is called Garm, an absolutely awesome looking pose here too. Very ferocious, very cool looking right there with the mouth wide open. Looking pretty sketchy. Wouldn't want to run into this thing, that's for sure. Here we have what is called a seer troll. This one has tons of detail going on. So again, painters are going to love these things because of all the little tiny things that are just added on to the sides, especially what the actual miniature is carrying on them sometimes is really unique and fun to paint as well. Looks like this one has a treasure chest kind of attached to its back. I guess you can when you're this massive. Now this next one is really crazy because, well, it's not only insane looking and looks pretty simplistic, but honestly, the camera doesn't do this one justice in terms of its weight. There would be no way you guys know how much this thing actually feels like to put in your hand, but literally it feels like a baseball. There's no hollowness to this whatsoever. It actually feels like one solid unit all the way through. It has a lot of weight to it. It's easily probably the heaviest one in the box, but it also is very cool looking too. Again, it's not an overly dynamic pose by any means, but it's a very interesting one, and that weight is super nice. Next up, we have this very intense hog. Don't want to mess with this thing. Looks like he's ready for battle. He's up on a log there, and he's got a lot of, like I said before, same with the troll, lots of little touches all over the body, belts and all kinds of stuff to paint. So again, field day there, and it looks really nice overall. A good pose too, and I really like that they're adding a bit more to the bases with these ones. Now here we have an individual who's very tall. If I put this thing in my hand, it pretty much goes from my pinky finger, and even if my hand was extended, it's still quite large. It's very large. It's not so much thick, but it's very large. So definitely on the game table, going to look pretty cool. Massive biceps on this thing, and triceps too. Absolutely crazy. This thing is not an individual you're going to want to run into when playing Blood Rage. And then last but not least, we have the Mountain Giantess. So she is very intimidating. I can tell you that much right now. Massive too. This is another really big one, but look at the base on this one. Again, I love that. There's not too many of the monsters in this box that actually utilize their base. This is one of the very few that do actually have a base built into the miniature. I want to really see this happening more often because even though I don't have the time to paint all of these myself based on the channel and the stuff I do, there's a lot of people out there that pick this stuff up to paint, and having a base kind of preset for you is a huge help when going ahead and finishing off your miniature. Well, now that we've gone through the monsters, we might as well go through these gold edition gods of Asgard. We're starting it off here with Thor. You can see the thing is shiny from all angles. One thing I will tell you though is that the actual mold of this looks just as nice as the miniatures that I've seen for the regular gods of Asgard. The one thing I will mention though is that it is a tad lighter. So it is lighter overall, but looks wise, quality wise, and the sculpt cut wise, it looks really well done. I'm very happy with them, and I love that sheen that when light hits it, it really looks like gold. So I guess that's the bonus of these ones, is there's absolutely no reason whatsoever why we'd want to paint these, because you're not going to make them look any more gold than they already do. I mean, sure, you could probably, bronze this thing up, make it sparkle even more if you really wanted to, but I just don't see any reason to, unless you wanted to maybe bring it down a notch and give them a little bit more of a worn goldish look, then I could see some painters wanting to go down that road. But yeah, overall, these things are very nice to look at, and they certainly are shiny, that's for sure. So when one actually hits the table, it won't go unnoticed. This miniature right here might be my actual favorite of the entire box. It's an absolutely beautiful one, not only because the actual miniature sitting in the chair is very nice, but the chair itself, the detail on it is crazy. So it is really impressive to look at. Again, they actually did something nice with the base here, and you can see that because this miniature actually can be removed from the chair and the throne can just be left there. So overall, pretty impressive, I gotta say. Next up here we have Hell, and this individual kind of looks like a legitimate statue when it's in gold, but absolutely beautiful as well. Again, I really like this. I don't know how much more I can say that, but this was the exciting part for me during the Kickstarter, was these gold gods of Asgard. I was like, these are going to look awesome on the table. I don't even have to touch them, don't have to paint them. They're good to go. Here is Frigga, looking even better here in her gold version. And then one of my personal favorites, at least in terms of strategy, although I don't employ this all the time, but I really always love the Loki strategy. So Loki is pretty awesome. It's kind of funny too, because when I was saying Loki, I almost said low-key strategy, and that's essentially what Loki does, basically, by having everyone in the clan basically sacrifice themselves for Valhalla. So that's kind of his trickery. And now we're going to get into the actual mini cards that come inside of this box. So what do these all do? Well, here we're talking specifically the Mystic card reference for the new Stag clan. So we'll just move past that one here. Here we go, starting it off with the first monster here. So again, if you want to pause the screen for any of these monsters in order to read them and consume them, please do. This hopefully will give you a good idea as to what these monsters do. And again, I won't be showing you necessarily what's on the back of them, so you won't know what age per se they're going to come in unless I happen to flip them like that. But I might actually go back through and show you the back sides of them as well. Here is another. I'll try my best to keep my fingers out of the way so you guys can actually read the cards fully, for those of you that want to pause. All right, now we're moving into some battle cards. Again, remember down here, 5+ players here. So again, do apologize for the fact this isn't a solo game. So for those of you that are watching, it's just more so to show you a game that I really, really love, because even though I predominantly play solo, I still enjoy the odd multiplayer game with friends and things like that. So I do that quite a bit. And with Monday nights, I've played games of Blood Rage. I've played games of Blood Rage with family, played it with other friends outside of Monday night. I've really enjoyed it. So again, this is an unboxing that doesn't touch on solo specific content, but I'm sure there's individuals on this channel that have played Blood Rage before or interested in this content, so hopefully somebody finds this of interest. There we go. Moving right along here, we now have some quests to be added in. Widespread. Wow, that's a big one. Here we have a warrior upgrade, pretty nice. Fire dragons. Lord of the Axes, leader upgrade. Loki's poison. Ah, Loki card, look at that. That's a pretty devastating battle card. That's an even more devastating battle card. Wow, +8, that's crazy. Glorious death. Widespread again. Down to the last few here, we got the Masters in Arms, the Eternal Dragons, and Lord of the Spears. And that's going to wrap up the Blood Rage Kickstarter unboxing for what came inside or was available for physical rewards as part of the Blood Rage Digital Kickstarter. There is a Blood Rage playmat, which of course is going to be in a larger size, if I remember correctly, playmat to what originally came in the Blood Rage core game. I don't currently have that, but when I do get it, I'll be sure to take some photos for those interested. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you make informed decisions on whether you want to try and find these particular products. If you miss the Kickstarter in the future, you might be able to find them on the secondhand market or elsewhere through Facebook groups. But thank you again for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.